So I grew up pretty poor. Didn't have a lot of money, which is what poor means. And I grew up in a big family, and in a big family, money is spread even thinner than if you only had one child. There were 5 of us. Me, 3 sisters, and a brother. And so my mom and dad always had to battle with us because we'd fight. It wasn't enough something. There was only one whatever. I'd fight my sisters for a Barbie doll in the middle of the afternoon. Didn't matter. I wanted it. And so my brother and I, we used to fight. I'd say we fought like dogs, but dogs only go for the throat. And so my brother and I, we resulted just down to body shots all the time. And when we were he's a year older than I am. And so when we were about 12, 11 years old, Corey and Stevie would always be in trouble. And my dad, he was a tall guy, like me, but 6'2", weighed 250. Depending on the season, he'd go up to 275. And he only had one leg. Money was too tight for 2. And he only had one leg. And we were always in trouble. Corey and I were always in trouble. We'd done something wrong. It didn't matter. It was always us. And we were always letting down somebody by doing something. We deserved it. We were bad kids. You know, like I thought it'd be really cool to put a racing strip on my dad's van. It looked good. It wasn't all that straight, but I thought it made the van go a little faster. And we were always letting my dad down, as boys will do to their fathers. And one day, we had to go to, I'm from a really small town called Simcoe. You don't have a cottage there. It's not Lake Simcoe. It's not Simcoe County. It's the town of Simcoe, the other Simcoe, on the other side of Toronto. And we grew up on a little hobby farm. And for some reason, my family, we drank a lot of milk. I don't know if you guys drank a lot of milk when you were kids, but that's all we did. And we get bags of milk. It's an Ontario thing. They don't do it anywhere else. We decide to put our milk into plastic containers that are sealed. We put 3 of them into one bag, one mega bag of milk. And you gotta cut it open, you put it in another thing, and then you're gonna pour into the... Don't know why we do that. It's more economical for the cows, I guess. Put a bunch of bags under a cow. So we went... My dad, he had health issues besides the one leg. And we had to go to Brantford, home of Wayne Gretzky and the telephone. And we went to Brantford, half an hour away. And one of the missions, my mom, if you grew up in a poor family, your parents were always, well, the smarter parents were always looking for coupons. And they're cutting things out, and they're like, oh, you know, shopping in the flyers and whatever. And my mom had a coupon that was for Calbeck's, which is a grocery store in Brantford. And it was $2.99 for a bag with 3 bags in it. And so we went to Calbeck's. It was a rare opportunity with me and my dad and my brother were together. And usually it took 2 parents to keep us away from killing the other, Cain and Abel. And we decided that sitting in the back, we were going to be on good behavior because, you know, it wasn't too often that my dad had no problem pulling over the van. This is a period of time when spanking was still allowed. CAS was not going to stop us. No, it wasn't that bad. I don't want to misrepresent. My dad was a good, strong-armed man, and so we were on our best behavior in the back, and he gave us a $10 bill, crisp. It was when the new $10 bill came out, you know, the nice one that we still have now, and it looked really fancy. It was freshly minted. And he handed it over to us. It had a hologram on it. And he handed it over to us, and he said, I want you to go inside to Calbeck's, and I want you to get 3 bags of milk. It's 9 individual bags of milk. And so we took the $10, carefully doing the math and saying, okay, no tax. That means $1.03 left over. That means like a coffee crisp. That means a crispy crunch. That means something for us. And so he gave us the $10 bill. I went into Calbeck's, and We went back, got into the cooler. We picked up our 3 big bags of milk, carrying them back to the cashier. And we waited in line, the 1 to 8 item line, and we waited this long lineup, and we were already getting nervous because there was my dad had to make it to an appointment. And so we get up to the very front after all of this, 11 and 12 years old, and the cashier is like, "Oh, that coupon's not good here. That's the other Calbex." And we're like, "There's another Calbex?" Fine. How much is the milk? 'Cause we thought we'd like bargain with her somehow. And she's like, "How much is the milk?" And she's like, "It's $3.49. We're looking at our 10. Quick at math. We're like, we're short. But now in my dad's van, we drove a 1985 Toyota. I don't know if anyone recognizes that year model, but it's a van that seats 7, and it looks like a space shuttle, a toaster. My last name is Sloot, and they used to call it the Sloot caboose when we'd come to school because there were 5 kids that would pile out of it like a bunch of deranged clowns. And so my dad sends us in, and we're failing him. We're not going to get the milk. The one thing we have to get, we're not going to get it. Corey and Stevie are going to screw it up again. So we go out, and now brothers, sometimes when we're not killing each other, we turn our efforts out towards the rest of the world. My brother distracted my dad somehow while I went into the little coffee area and tried to get the change, which would complete our mission, and we would get the milk. But my dad caught. He went, what are you doing with the change? I'm like, it's $3.49. He's like, nope, we're not going. We had told this woman that we were going to be back with the other 50 cents. So we had to go back in, get the $10, walk out, refund, and leave without the milk. So we were pretty disappointed. My dad was disappointed. Everybody was disappointed. Calbex was disappointed. And we drive along, appointment, blah, blah, blah. Corey and I are trying to murder each other. And we see off in the distance a sign in a convenience store, Becker's. And in the sign, it said milk, $2.50. We struck it big. If our family was like the government, the milk line, budget line would have been one of our biggest expenditures. So this was like a big deal. And my dad fishes out some more cash. He's like, I want you to get 5 bags. We got 15 bags of, I was like, milkshakes? What's going to happen next? This is a big day. So he sends us in to Becker's. We will not let you down, Dad. We walk on in, and we start piling. Now we got like heavy bags. They're not light. And so we're climbing over there with the bags. And then the guy behind the counter, he's like, oh, one bag for customer. And we're like, what? My brother and I start to talk to each other. We're like, okay, Corey, the older brother, he's like, you get one, I'll get one. We'll go out, we'll come back in, we'll get 2 more. I'll go back in. We're going to train this thing. We're going to beat this thing if we have to. And he heard us say brother, and he's like, 1 per family. You can't change the rules in the middle. We just strategize. All right, fine. Now, Corey and I were no longer defeated. We were angry. We were mad. We walked out, we stormed out, and my dad's like, where's the milk? And we said, we couldn't get the milk. The guy was, and we told him the whole story. And my dad, he got mad. And he climbs out of the 1985 Toyota van. He's only got one. He had a prosthetic. Like, it wasn't like he was hopping around. But he walks out, but he kind of walked like Frankenstein a little bit. He was a menacing guy. And he walks on in, and my brother and I are like, what's going to happen inside? And we're staring there looking out the window, and we're looking inside, and we can't hear anything. It's not like it was we couldn't hear anything. And we just see this big pantomime of what's happening inside. My dad's yelling at the convenience store guy. The convenience store guy's yelling back at my dad. And then I see my dad go to the window, and he grabs the sign out of the window, and he's tearing it up. And threw it in the face of this horribly unjust convenience store guy. And then my dad he's hobbling out. He's getting out of the damn place now that he's destructed some property. And the convenience store guy runs out, and he starts cursing at my dad. And my brother and I, despite any issue we'd ever had, we can make fun of my dad. You don't. So my brother's out the window of the 1985 van. He's like, you don't talk to my dad that way. I'm out the side, sliding doors open, like, you leave him alone. And we left, and we didn't get any milk that day. But we were happy. Thanks.